Yo, internet, what is happening? Welcome back. And on today, behind the stack of wheels and tires and 3-valve parts, we have the cheap 3-valve that we swapped a little over a month ago. And I basically got it running in 14 hours with the huge help of Make It Modular's own plug-and-play swap harness to swap a Gen 1, I like to call ECU, into these cars because you can do like a 3-2-1 setup, but that's another discussion. So on today's video, I'm going to discuss what I buttoned up. I basically, like I said, just got it running and got the, to show how easy it is, showcasing the harness, and then push it out in the street because I didn't have a drive shaft or an exhaust system for it quite yet. It's been sitting for a month, been busy doing drifting things, dad things, business things, blah, blah, blah. So now I got the drive shaft and exhaust, buttoning up the harness, putting the pedal in, all that good stuff. But today, I want to break down all little nuances and the actual cost it cost me to do this swap, and maybe it's something for you to consider if you're doing this swap. So today you can see it's not all together. That's just the coolant and the intake tube out of there so that I can put in the AC stuff. So when you do the AC, I highly recommend, if you have a GT, to use the old 4.6 compressor and power by the hours bracket. But that forces you also to spend maybe $100 or so bucks. F150 belt, F150 tensioner, and an idler pulley to route the belt like the F150s do, because the Mustangs have a stretch belt, and I don't feel like stretching those things with the adapter, because I highly doubt it's going to work. They're a pain in the ass when it's a factory Coyote car setup with the AC compressor anyway. So this one was swapped with a MT82, and I got the harness, ECU, everything, trans harness. It was a drop-in deal, and I had to splice 0 wires. Now the only one you might remember from my video was this one here, was the battery cable feeding the fuse box. Now I had to take a little bit from the 4.6 engine harness because that, on the MT82 trans harness, that cable is actually bolt on. It must have gotten lost or just discarded when this engine got parted out from its donor. So if you go that route, just be aware that that's probably the one thing you're gonna have to do. Other than that, we plugged in the harness and this thing's running great. It has tip to start, which I think is a really cool newer car feature that the earlier S197s didn't have. And today, let's get deeper into the cost of things, okay? All right, so I have my computer here, and I have a little note from my iCloud to show, keeping track of how much this has cost me. So I bought the drivetrain from Downshift Auto Parts here in Phoenix. Ended up having the T for the coolant issue. He more than covered parts, so he gave me $100 off. Plus we negotiated from his eBay. I actually found the guy on eBay. I didn't know Downshift Auto Parts existed, but that drivetrain ended up costing me $6,100. Might seem a little bit steep for a Gen 1 ECU or Gen 1 Coyote drivetrain, but let me tell you what all this came with. It's actually going to be faster if I tell you what it didn't come with. It didn't come with a pedal. I needed a trans mount because of the crash, and I needed an airbox, and used math as far as mechanicals. He ended up having like the exhaust and stuff. We'll break that down now. So we got drivetrain was $6,100. I needed a pedal, found used for $71. Yeah, we're getting real specific here. And trans mount and upper hose and the trans bushing was $273. Now I do have a wholesale account through Ford. It's not that hard to set up if you have an LLC. It's super easy. The AC bracket from Power by the Hour shipped $107. Completely worth it. Never had to discharge the AC. PATS delete. Now I do a lot of business with Power by the Hour. It cost me $220 with shipping to get my PATS delete. I believe they charge $250 or $300 before shipping. And the airbox, got a brand new airbox tube in line because this ECU was stock tune. I didn't want to mess with tuning to save money. $93. Kind of overpaid, made an offer on eBay, whatever. Could have found one cheaper, I'm sure. A used mass airflow sensor, $44. A Make It Modular swap harness. Now I'll include this cost in it because so you can relate. It's $1,000. A rack and pinion. So I got the electronic rack from a 2012 V6 from the yard, $200. A drive shaft. Found the guy that Downshift Auto Parts had the stock drive shaft. He was holding out on me. That was $100. And then he had the full exhaust system from that same donor car, which is the manifolds back pipe system. Sounds pretty good. Usually I put long tubes on these cars, but this engine came with the manifolds. And so that was $350. And then I just bought the AC belt and tensioners, $85. So you can see this is adding up. We're at $8,643. A lot to stick in for just a stock Coyote, but remember, everything works. I even tested the cruise in the air and the lift. AC is gonna work. I already tested the sensor. It has, it's showing pressure in the system of like 86 pounds, just static sitting there. I already know it's gonna work because my 07 is swapped the same way, which is hardwired. So yeah, we're at $8,643. It's a bit steep, huh? And that's not including my labor, or anybody else's labor. But let me break this down for you. I've sold a lot of 3-valve stuff. So my big advice to you is, if I hear all these guys saying, "Oh, I'll swap it when the engine blows," don't do that. Have a good running engine that you can sell. Sell the 5-speed, sell the ECU, the harnesses. They're all worth money. So let's bring it down here. So now I sold my old transmission, the ECU, and the harnesses for $1,200. Granted, they had about 170K on them. I sold the 4.6 long block with the accessories, another $1,200. So we almost got 2/3 of our initial drivetrain cost back. I sold the stock 3-valve mid pipe for $300, and I sold the stock cat back because this car was super stock when I bought it for 75 bones. What does that bring us to? $5,868. $5,868. Not too bad for having this thing up and running for parts only. Now, I know my labor rate for my shop, I usually shoot for $100 an hour when I'm quoting stuff, so you could probably tack on another, $3,000 if you're 3, 4, 5, 6, however much the people want to charge to swap this car, because now with the swap harness, it's about as laborious as a regular R&R of a 4.6 3-valve, because your heater hoses will line up. You just use Coyote stuff. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on the drivetrain. Yeah, we paid $6,000 for a complete drivetrain, but I didn't get nickel and dime with harnesses and ECUs and all that good stuff. So now I'm slowly getting the car kind of ready to get some street duty. Still want to play with ForeScan. I've had the cable and the software for a while. Gonna get some different wheels on here that I have off my 07, because the 07 is gonna get these wheels and tires with the wide body. If you haven't checked that out, you should probably get a guy in here to PDR some of these door dings and whatnot. But yeah, it's a pretty clean car, and I was cool enough to put in a stock 6-speed shift knob in there, stock shifter, but it feels kind of funky going into first. But let's see if I can get used to that on the road. But there is one other thing I'm kind of battling right now, is the fan always wants to turn on because it thinks the cylinder head temperature voltage is at 0, but it's still reading engine coolant temperature. It's one and the same sensor, so it's not really a huge deal breaker. It runs great, it sounds pretty good, and I know with the fan always on, it'll never overheat. But yeah, it's variant wheels, just all placeholder. Got the BC coils on here, blah, blah, blah. That's not even how low it'll go, because that's as far as the lift goes. It's just not all the way on the ground. Anyway, yeah. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on. I know it's usually about once a month I try and post. I had a lot of things going on. We had Fuel Fest a couple weeks ago, Drifting the Fusion, And I'm still trying to get the OG 07 Coyote swap car back from 2F. We got the cool 2F wide body for those early S197s you can get on my website. I'll show links in the bottom. And of course, we're still cruising with harnesses. Thank you guys for everyone that's been purchasing the harnesses. And one other thing is I looked into doing 2010 Mustangs, and a gentleman has a 2010 V6. I got a book, put some things together to see if it's possible. It looks very possible. Other colleagues, especially Christian from Power by the Hour, said that there might be some charging messages that can pop up, but 2010 is in the works. So if you're doing a 2010, reach out to me. Maybe we can work something out, because I know it's not going to be perfect, but it should. The engine will run, the dash should work, all that good stuff. The AC is questionable because it has a hybrid between the 4.6, older 4.6 cars and like a Coyote car, because it uses the HVAC system from the 11 to 14 cars in the 2010 and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, just wanted to showcase this harness again some more, and we're still building them. Added this little treat to our adapter, little shameless branding. And yeah, if you noticed, we got the Fox back up and running. Guess we'll kind of do like a little garage update. I finally fixed and painted the cowl. You can see the hood's still damaged, but that was almost 3 years ago that happened. So yeah, just kind of going off on a rant here, but I can't wait to get some proper wheels and tires on this car and start enjoying it. It'll be a nice little daily for a while, then we'll develop some more drift parts for it. There's a lot of things I want to do for these cars yet. And keep your eye out, because this car I'm not going to keep. The 07's kind of the flagship as far as this goes, you know, doing the swap harnesses and Coyote cars. An early S197s. So if you're in the market, you know, hit me up. It'll be for sale, you know, once we get some more drift things on it. I'd like to sell it as a kind of like a turnkey drift car without a cage. That'll be ready to go, and Coyote swap all ready to go. So I almost forgot to mention one of the quirks. If you're using a full 11 to 14 exhaust, which the rear hangers between the 05, 09 and the 11 to 14 cars are very different. Just be aware that the tips will stick out a little more than I probably like. I tried getting it jammed in there. Everything else bolts up fine because there's no hangers in between. But let me show you, just so you're aware. Next time I'll probably just put headers and adapt the 05, 09 mid pipe like I did with the 07 to the headers of the Coyote. But this wasn't a bad solution because this exhaust system was super cheap. It came with high flow cats, an X pipe, and pipes, like mid muffler kind of resonator system. It sounds pretty good. I'd show you a clip, but you're gonna have to wait till the next video because I have everything apart and I still need to put together the AC and stuff. So yeah, take a look at this, see what you think. Yeah. After looking at like pictures of the 13, 14 or 11 to 14 bumpers, it sticks out a little more than my liking. It's not terrible, but yeah, I'm thinking about just cutting the tips off, but I'm pretty sure those things are like hollow, double walled. So yeah, not the most ideal solution, but I feel like for the price it was right. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and please consider subscribing. We'll see you next time.